Oxford English for Careers, Oil and Gas 2, Student's Book, by John Naunton and Alison Pole. Published and copyright Oxford University Press, 2011. Unit 1. Listening. Part A.
When it comes out of the ground, crude oil is black, green, or even clear. It's not very useful in its original state, so it has to be refined in an oil refinery. It travels there by water in a tanker or by pipeline. 2 billion tons of oil travel by tanker each year across the seas. They carry 18 million barrels of oil through the Straits of Hormuz in the Gulf every day. Pipelines vary in length. The longest pipeline in the world is the Druzhba pipeline that runs 4,000 kilometers from southeast Russia to the Czech Republic and Germany. It can transport over 1 million barrels each day.
Part B.
When we measure oil, we usually talk about barrels. A barrel of oil contains 42 US gallons, but it can make 44 gallons of petroleum products. The main use of crude oil is to produce fuel for energy. After it reaches its destination, crude oil is changed into different petroleum products. Just over 19 gallons become petrol or gasoline. Another 9 gallons become diesel, and 4 gallons are used as jet fuel. The rest is turned into heavy fuel oil, heating oil, and LPG. That's liquid petroleum gas. The last 7 gallons are changed into other products.
Part C.
This amazing range of products made from petroleum ranges from ammonia to the bitumen we put on our roads to plastics. But there are other products whose connection with petroleum is hard to imagine. For instance, the gum you chew and the deodorant you use may both use petroleum. Incredible, isn't it?
Unit 1. Vocabulary. Exercise 3. 1.
Land surveyor.
2.
Maintenance technician.
3.
Petroleum chemist.
4.
Piping designer.
5.
Refinery manager.
6.
Safety officer.
Exercise 4. 1.
I work offshore most of the time. I look after the machinery and keep everything in working order. The aim is that nothing breaks down, but if it does, I'm there to repair it.
2.
I monitor safety on board the rig and make sure there are no accidents. A new trainee called Hamdan is following me around this week. I am showing him what the job involves.
3.
I have a lot of responsibility. I'm in overall charge of the facility and oversee everything from the arrival of the crude oil. Of course, I have a big team of managers and specialist engineers who report to me.
4.
I design the piping systems that carry the oil and gas around the refinery. At the moment, I'm working on a design for a pipeline for a new gas field.
5.
I'm involved in the exploration stage. My job is to identify the best places to drill for oil and gas. We use a number of different techniques to help us. For example, aerial photography and seismic exploration.
6.
My job is to analyse samples for traces of hydrocarbons. These samples can be rock or soil samples, or even samples from the ocean.
Unit 1. Speaking. Conversation A.
Good afternoon, Dr. Al-Harbi.
Hello, Mr. Gibson. Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm fine, thank you.
May I bother you a moment? I'd like to introduce you to my new trainee. This is Hamdan Al-Noemi. It's his first week.
Welcome to the refinery. I'm very pleased to meet you, Hamdan.
How do you do, Dr. Al-Harbi?
So, how are you finding it so far?
I'm very happy to be here. There is so much to learn.
Well, Mr. Gibson is an excellent teacher. Please excuse me, I have to go to a meeting. I hope to see you again soon.
I look forward to it. Goodbye, Dr. Al-Harbi.
Conversation B.
Farid, have you got a minute? I want you to meet someone. This is Hamdan. He's a new trainee too.
Hi, Hamdan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, how's it going?
I'm having a great time, thanks. I'm learning a lot. What about you?
I'm with one of the piping designers. In fact, he's beeping me now. Sorry, I have to go.
Bye.
Yes, see you around.
Unit 2. Listening.
So, when did people begin to use oil? Well, we know that people used oil about 4,000 years ago in the Middle East. They used it on the outside of boats and ships. This was to make them waterproof. They also used it when they were building. They put it between the building stones. They found the oil in small pools. There was also oil along river banks. It simply seeped from below the ground to the surface and collected there in pools. At about the same time, people in Egypt and Japan used oil to light their homes. They also used oil as medicine to treat several illnesses. And we also know that bitumen was used on the early streets of Baghdad. Bitumen is a black, almost solid form of oil. People drilled oil thousands of years ago in China. The interesting thing is that they didn't want oil, they wanted salt. The oil wasn't important, so they threw it away. But in the middle of the 19th century, people realized how important oil could be. They found they could distill oil to produce kerosene, which they burned in oil lamps to light their homes. This happened in several different countries, in America, Russia, and Romania. People didn't use oil as a fuel for transport for many years. That changed when the automobile, the car, was invented. When they distilled oil to make kerosene for lamp oil, they also produced petrol or gasoline, and this became a very important product. The car was the real start of the oil industry. Today, oil is used for lots of things. Fuel for cars, lorries, aircraft, heating and cooling of buildings, and it's also used in many industrial processes. For example, it's used to make plastics, medicine, fibers, and detergents.
Unit 2. Pronunciation.
Collected. Invented. Produced. Seeped. Stored. Used. Burned. Wanted. Distilled. Drilled. Visited. Drained. Analyzed. Invested. Worked.
Unit 2. It's my job.
I work as a recording helper or jug hustler. When oil companies are exploring for oil, they have to start by studying rock formations in an area. They want to find out what's below the surface of the ground and hopefully find oil. So they employ geophysicists to study the physical characteristics of rocks. The geophysicists use seismic recording equipment to produce computer images of the land. It's my job to move this equipment. I'm responsible for placing and removing cables and geophones used in the tests. I have to check that everything's in place and working well. I'm a line boss, so I have responsibility for 4 line crew helpers. It's hard work. We work in difficult environments for 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. Of course, we also get time off. At the moment, I'm working 28 days on and 7 days off. We have to unload the equipment from transport vehicles and then lay it out. The cables and equipment are very heavy and we have to carry them over a large area. Most days I walk between 6 and 20 kilometers. I left school with good results, but I didn't want to study at college. I wanted an outdoor job with some excitement. So I got a job as a jug hustler with an oil company. It's a very physically demanding job. The company gave me basic training in safety and petroleum industry hazards, and I took a special driving test for driving heavy vehicles. I hope I can become a coordinator soon. Then I'll have responsibility for all the field equipment, managing crews and production.